Leana Wen, Dr. Leana Wen, having one of the most interesting turns in politics.
It's not a real arc, right? Real character arc.
It started out as one of the most wear a mask, all this, and then became one of the really only people on CNN, I guess whenever it was safe, to begin acknowledging things, saying masks don't work unless you're wearing an N95. Now saying actually we're overcounting COVID deaths, kind of stunning people on CNN itself, and then also drawing a major reaction afterwards. Let's take a listen to exactly what she said.
As you know, I covered this closely being in the Trump White House when this happened. I talked to a lot of health officials about this who are actually kind of skeptical of this claim that you're making. And I think one big thing has been, what is the evidence that these COVID deaths are actually being overcounted?
Well, this is the reason why this kind of transparent reporting is going to be so important. There is a way for us to look at death certificates and also to look at the medical records of individuals prior to their death. And I think this needs to be separated into three categories. One is the COVID as a direct contributor, the primary cause of death. The second is, could it be a secondary contributing cause? So, for example, somebody with kidney disease, COVID then pushes them over the edge to have kidney failure. That's COVID as a contributing cause. And then the third is COVID as an incidental finding. So somebody coming in with a gunshot wound or a heart attack and they happen to test positive. I think that we need to separate out and look at the percentages of each. That percentage would have shifted over time as well. In the beginning, probably a lot more people were dying with the primary cause of COVID. That probably has shifted.
She's not wrong. That's been the case now for a long time. And actually, this is part of why it's so difficult. I don't know if everybody remembers, but the CDC put out a statement, what was it, about a year ago or so, where they were talking about how the average person who's dying of COVID post-mass vaccination campaign was over 80 years old and had up to 4 comorbidities. And people lost it because what they are attempting to do is a lot of people want you to still believe that COVID is a major threat to your life. Now, with variants, with vaccination, natural immunity, therapeutics, and so much of the evolution of where we are right now, it's just simply not true unless you have some pretty major underlying health conditions, and that's where it genuinely could be a major threat to your life. Something that she actually even argues in this Washington Post op-ed. Again, I don't exactly know why she's coming forward. The major kind of crux of her argument here is that it's important to actually keep accurate data as to what this is, and to actually make sure that what the COVID death rate purportedly is not something that is unacceptably high, or so a way that we can actually track the virulence and the progress of the disease. But this has also been the case now for quite a long time for a lot of people who are even looking at, age tables and others regarding COVID. Many, I would say almost 2 years ago, almost at this point. Now, the thing is, though, is that this is effectively conventional wisdom for most people. I think they understand it. When an 85-year-old who's got heart disease and diabetes dies because they have COVID, is it really COVID that's what's responsible for their death? That being said, this clip itself of benign conventional wisdom now at this point received a tremendous amount of pushback in kind of the liberal intelligentsia. Let's go ahead and put this up there on the screen, actually echoing some exactly of what Caitlin Collins was pushing back there with quote-unquote health professionals. Please, Dr. Wen, we don't have time to wonder or speculate. The data is public. We know exactly how many COVID deaths were primary versus contributing versus incidental. It's actually not true. More deaths are now contributing, but that doesn't mean that they are overcounted. Go to the next one there, please, on the screen. Mehdi Hassan saying, right-wingers are loving the latest nonsense from Leana Wen, who has gone from COVID hawk to COVID to minimize to now aid and abetter of COVID denialists. Her latest conspiratorial claims have been debunked by a number of actual experts. And then the next one there, please, also important. Yes, similar, Dr. Lucky Tran, the cycle of disinformation. The White House is seeding talking points with hand-picked minimizer Twitter docs like Leana Wen. Minimizer docs spread disinformation via priority access to the media. Anti-vaxxers amplify minimizer op-ed pending the White House is using dissent as an excuse to loosen its policies. So these are all people, again, who really do seem to believe that we, Krystal, are in May of 2020 or something and want to freeze the conversation there. That's the part I just don't get. How can you possibly push back against this?
Actually, that last person had one part of their thing had a point, which is that I think when you look at her character arc and you ask, like, why has she shifted so dramatically? Well, originally, the claim she was making, the way she was positioning herself, was beneficial to Democrats. And now, you know, while you have a lot of liberals who don't want to engage with what she's saying and are just like panicked at the very suggestion of it, the Biden White House is very interested in people moving on from the pandemic and feeling like things are okay and like moving forward. So, I mean, it does just so happen that her commentary has sort of tracked what is most useful for the Biden White House, which that last commenter, who had a lot of other things to say about it as well, did point that out. And I think that that is a worthwhile point. Listen, I don't claim to be an expert on whether the deaths are overcounted or undercounted or just right or whatever. I have not dug into it deeply. Let me just put that ultimately on the table. But what has bothered me this whole time is the level of panic about even having a discussion around it and providing a quote unquote talking point to someone who might be your ideological adversary, and the shifting nature of what you're allowed to wonder about, question, dig into, the way public health officials have actively and admitted to trying to shape public opinion and behavior rather than just present us with evidence and facts. And social media, and we've talked about that as well, like has also played into this as serving as these sort of like gatekeepers of what you can say and what you can't say and what counts as fact and what counts as fiction. That has been the piece that has always really bothered me. And so I think that's sort of exemplified by the treatment of the comments here from Leana Wen.
It's just so insane. I still can't, it's January 2023. I can't even believe that we're having this discussion. I thought people knew this a long time ago. And then the fact that people who have, you know, decent sway over at least public health opinion and public health authority in this country disagree with what she's saying is even more disturbing to me. But it is what it is.
Hey guys, ready or not, 2024 is fully upon us now, and Saagar and I have been brainstorming ways that we can really up our game for this critical election.
Yeah, we rely on our premium subs to expand our coverage, to add staff, to upgrade the studio. We just want to give you the best independent coverage of this election, which is possible. So if you can help us out, become a premium subscriber today, breakingpoints.com, or the link is down here in the description video. It really means the world to us, and if you like what we're all about, this is the best possible way to keep us 100% independent, working only for you.